guys, Luke with Glock History again. That Glock guy. Just doing a daily unboxing, late night on a Friday. I live in a small town in Oklahoma. There's really nothing to do here, which works out because it means I get a lot more work done. But just in case you guys are curious, as a federal firearms licensee, you're actually required to log in everything that you receive for that day on the day that you receive it, put it into your bound book, and so we comply with all federal firearms license requirements. It's a nice looking Glock 27. Here we go. This is actually frying pan finish vintage, which is just a nickname that's been given to the type of finish that they applied. Probably 2000 to 2010 vintage, maybe. It's known to be the most durable of Glock's slide finishes. And so like this one's probably 15, 20 years old, maybe older, and no holster wear. No noticeable marks. There's actually a little scratch in the frame, but that slide is immaculate. So all things being equal, if you have the chance to find one of the frying pan finishes, it'll probably show less wear for more rounds. And they call it frying pan just because it looks like an old frying pan. So if you see one with that slide finish, it's probably frying pan finish. I think this is from parts supplier. Looks like they sent me a big box for no reason. And these are just some Glock upper or lower parts kits. Looks like model 42. Full size. So I snag these whenever I can get a deal. Always need spare parts. Alright. Well, this one I am excited about. A couple boxes today that I've been excited about getting. And this one came to us all the way from Virginia. I actually paid for this a couple weeks ago, but it takes time sometimes for them to process a check. Peanuts stick to everything. It does have the box. All right. So this guy is a super rare Glock Cutaway model. And this one's actually a Gen 2 19, which is possibly the rarest of all the cutaways they made. For the Gen 1, they only made 17s, and there's only like 90 of them out there. So that's obviously top of the list up there. For Gen 2, though, we've documented serial numbers. They start somewhere around number 200. So all the cutaways will have a JQ serial prefix. Gen 2 production started around 200, maybe a little low, below 200. And we don't actually have a high end for all the cutaways, but the Gen 3, we've documented guns in the 1200 serial range. So there's less than 1,000 for the Gen 2 production of all models. And they made 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. The 19 is one of the most rare of the cutaways, at least for that vintage. So I would put the number maybe around 100. High end would be like 200 of those ever made. So this guy I got a steal on Gunbroker, and I have to assume it's because it came in a clamshell case. This would have originally been in a Tupperware, and so maybe people thought it was a Gen 3. I don't know. But what would happen with these? They would get loaned out to departments or armorers or even traveling salesmen would show, because it's really cool. You can see all the inner workings of the Glock. So the guys would use them for demonstrations, and then they would come back to the factory. So this one would have come back to Glock at some point, after the transition to clamshell cases, and instead of leaving it in the Tupperware, they put it in a new box. So it is a factory label, matched to the gun, super rare gun. That one might just go back in the safe. I actually have one that I got a steal on years ago. I had a second one that I put on Gunbroker, and it sold for $3,400, believe it or not. And the both of those have Tupperware cases that match. So, but it's still nice to have spares. I also have one of those Gen 117s, and I got it on a Rock Island auction. I think it cost me $7,500 for that. So those are super collectible. And obviously this is just me talking, so take it for what it's worth, but those are real numbers. So all these guys who think Glocks are not collectible, 7,000 is not the most that I've paid for one, so I would disagree with that assessment. So this guy is actually a package. I snagged this the other night. He had 5 of them listed, and I hit the buy it now immediately because, just like what we were saying with the Gen 2 Cutaways, this is actually a Gen 2 simunition model. It's a Glock 17T, no finger grooves. And so same deal, they really just didn't make a lot of these at all. This one's in the 1200 serial block. It does not have a labeled case, so I'm assuming obviously that would have been a Tupperware originally, but the T model didn't come out until 1996, and then they transitioned to the Gen 3 in 1998, so it was only made for a couple of years. And because that was a new product at the time, there just weren't a lot made. They only made 17s that I've seen, at least. And I think the lowest serial number on a Gen 3 I've got is like in the 2200s. So there maybe were 2000, but we actually don't know the cutoff. And this dude had 5 of the suckers. Go ahead, chamber check as we go. These do not fire regular ammunition. A simunition is like a rubber pellet or a paintball, and the police use them for force-on-force training. Wow. These are a little worn. Obviously they were used by the police department for training, but super nice guns. And I would guess, just given the rarity of the Gen 2 T models, these are probably $1,000 each. Ooh, got a consecutive numbered set here. So, no idea where these came from, but as you can see, gun number 5. And 3 of those are consecutively numbered. The other 2 are just a couple off. So probably one department has had these forever and just traded them in. Super cool score. Can't decide what I'll do with those. Those might just sit in the safe again until I really need money for some reason, because you can't find these anywhere. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Please like, subscribe. And actually, if you want to support the channel, I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking, I would invite you to visit wcspca.org and donate to the local shelter here, help our lost pets in the Oklahoma area. Thanks guys for watching. Have a good night.